Creating content can be an overwhelming task. Trust me, I know. I spent many nights crying in my office trying to write content for my business, especially if you're an online business owner in the wellness space that doesn't have a good system to organize content creation. To make it easier to manage your online presence and establish yourself as an expert in the field, it's important to organize your content creation. Developing a workflow to create quality content that engages readers is the key to building relationships and trust with your potential clients. Today, I'm going to give you 4 steps. Establishing a process for content creation, brainstorming your ideas, developing high-quality content, and publishing consistently. Through the use of informative yet fun content that reflects your personality, you will be able to capture the hearts of your followers, making the decision to work with you so easy, coach. I know what you're thinking. You have zero interest in establishing a content creation process. I know, I get it. You've been resisting, and the thought of it even makes you cringe just a little tiny bit. I know, it's okay. But here's the thing, creating a content creation process is essential for any online business or wellness coach looking to organize your content creation. Don't worry, you can make this process simple as it needs to be. Keep in mind, it should include setting your goals and intention, defining who you're actually talking to, researching topics your ideal client is trying to solve, and creating a content calendar. So setting goals and intentions, you can better determine the type of content to create to help solve problems. It's important to set those realistic expectations for yourself so that you can measure your progress over time. For example, if your goal is to increase your website traffic, then you need to create content that will attract more visitors each month until you reach your desired number, focusing on those keywords or your SEO optimization. You want to define your audience, so you really need to hone in on your ideal client because it helps to determine the type of content that you must create in order to resonate with them. And let me guess, you've heard things like age range, gender, interest, location. It's important to understand really what problem you're solving for your ideal client. These factors all play a role in how successful the content will be at reaching its intended audience. You want to make sure you're focusing on solving problems. I know this one might make you cringe a little bit, but it does help. Trust me, because I am a true example for this. Resisted doing any relevant topic search when it came to SEO or that type of things. But it really is essential because once you identify who your ideal client is, research the topics related specifically to them so that the content then will resonate and it's not just those generic topics. Go ahead, schedule a few coffee chats, really get to know what it is. You can engage in a few Facebook communities where your ideal client hangs out and ask your dream client what problems they're facing in their business and a poll on Instagram. When it comes to your particular offering, you really want to know how you can help. You can utilize Google Trends or Ubersuggest. They also have the tool of Ask the Public to figure out popular keywords that's related specifically to the topic that you help around so that your readers can find it easily when they're searching online or if they're searching for podcasts. I've talked about it before. I do a lot of podcast searching on related topics. Content calendars allow you to keep track of upcoming blog posts or other pieces of core content that you have scheduled in the upcoming month or quarter. And one thing that's nice about this is when you set up your content calendar, you can line it up with your promotional calendar so that you know that all of your content that you're currently creating will flow into the actual promotion that you're having. Because if you're like at the end of the year, gonna be trying to fill up a group coaching program for the upcoming year, that's the perfect time to have all of your content build up. So like you're going to have a couple months where you're just building up and asking people to join your email list. And then maybe you'll have a month where you're selling a low end product, like around Black Friday or something like that, depending on when you're listening to this anyways. And then the final month of the year, you can be promoting your high end or your group coaching, whatever your main offering that you have for your wellness program. And this is also a key thing. When you have your content organized ahead of time, it helps to ensure your consistency. While we give ourselves enough time to plan out for each piece of content, you're not having to make a decision at the last minute of what content you're going to be creating because you took an hour and sat down and said, hey, I'm going to do this. I literally did that this week. I sat down and created out my content through the whole rest of this year. So I don't have to make that decision. I know when I look at my content calendar exactly what I'm going to be working on and what I need to create, which helps me get ahead with my content so I don't feel like I'm scrambling at the very last minute, because I've done that for the last few weeks. As summer wraps up and comes to a close and we've been busy and doing all those things, I was a scrambler. I was trying to do that. But when you create a content process, it helps prevent that scrambling at the last minute to create those key pieces of content that you need to promote your business. And having a process helps you to reduce your overwhelm around creating your content, as you no longer have to think about all the steps. You already have them laid out for you in a workflow, so you don't ever miss a step. If you're not sure what project management software is best for you, that's okay. Find one that resonates with you and pick and stick with it. Okay, let's move on to brainstorming all those brilliant ideas for your content calendar. So brainstorming content ideas is essential so that, again, when you're sitting down to create your content calendar, you can look at the different ideas that you have so that your content creation process becomes much easier, because you've already thought about different creative and engaging topics that your ideal client is going to resonate with for your wellness space. And make sure that you have a storage process for all those ideas so that you're not leaving them on random scraps of paper or on sticky notes, and then you're losing them. I like to use Notion for my content library, but you can use something that works for you. Either your project management software is another place that you can put it. Use the notes on your phone. The key is you just want to have something super easy that you can jot down all those content ideas. I know when I'm out and about and a brilliant idea strikes me, then I can go into my phone and I can write it down. Or more than likely, it's usually when I'm on a walk, and I dictate to Siri to take my note for me. And she does a brilliant job with that. That's just something that I do because it works easy for me. And as soon as I get in, I can put it into my idea bank and know exactly where it's at. Because I use Mac, I can copy it from my note and paste it right into Notion, and my outline and all my thoughts and ideas are right there. Brainstorming your content ideas really is the first step to creating quality content for your business. Are you ready to chat about developing that content so that you can start getting it out into the world? Perfect. Me too. Okay, I believe Ashland Wright said that people do not read boring copy, but they read engaging copy. And I think you can agree on that. So maybe 6 months ago, it may be even longer, I completely switched up my emails. I send out an email every single week. In the past, I would just highlight the blog post. I stopped doing that because I took a look at the emails that I would read on a weekly basis. And I discovered that the emails that I read had those personal stories in it. They had the stories that somebody talked about, getting to know that person as an individual. Since then, I have changed my complete strategy with my email, and I just write about something that's going on in my life that can relate then back to the topic. Sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch, but for the most part, I can get it back. I tell you, I get so many replies back and comments about how people love the stories that I talk about in my email newsletters each week, because I give them a glimpse into my struggles, the things that I'm working on, what I have going on personally in my life. And those things all can relate back to the content that I'm creating. And I have seen as well, all my open rates on my emails are over 50%, which is fun to see that people are actually opening and reading my emails. Okay, back to what I was talking about. When you're creating a system to organize your content creation, you want to develop that quality, engaging copy and headlines, because if you don't have a good headline, people aren't going to click on it. They're not going to open it. They grab the attention and they make somebody want to read more, or it generates that curiosity and they're like, what the heck is that? But it should be clear, concise, and actually relevant to the topic. Friend, nobody likes a bait and switch. Keep the headline and the content relatable. When you're writing your copy, focus on providing value that will benefit the reader. You want to use simple language that's easy to understand and avoid that overly technical jargon or terms. Ugh. And I give you grace if you do this, because I seem to do the same thing. I don't intend to, but when you're farther down the path than somebody else, sometimes you forget that they don't know what you're talking about. Optimizing for search engines can help increase that visibility of your content online by making it much easier for your ideal client to find when they're searching for those related topics or keywords on Google or Bing or whatever search engine they like to use, Perplexity. To optimize your content, include those relevant keywords throughout the body of the text, as well as in the titles and headlines where it's appropriate. But don't go stuffing keywords where they don't belong. You want them to make actual sense. Additionally, don't forget to put those alt tags on your images, because search engines crawl those as well and index them. To break it up so it's just not big blocks of text. I think I talked about that last week as well, because you want to make it easy for people to read it and digest, because you know what you're going to do. You go to a blog post, you scroll all the way down the bottom, read the bottom paragraph, and decide if you're going to read it or not. You want to make sure that it has information in there so that they can easily read it and it has some white space as well. And you break it up with those visual elements that fit your personality. Creating your high quality content is essential. It's essential for the success of your business. You need to draw people back to your website, to the thing you own. And that's how you're going to do it with your content so that you can maximize your impact strategically. When it comes to your content creation, you need to publish in the places that you know your ideal client is going to be. You want to choose the right platform. So do you think they listen to podcasts? Are they social media and listening to lives? Where's the best place to put that content? And if you're doing social media lives, make sure you're taking that live and putting it on your website and reusing it in other ways, like taking it and putting it onto a podcast. Make sure you're tracking your metrics. You want to know if the content that you're creating is actually resonating and what content you should create more of. And you can do that looking your metrics. And again, make sure you're repurposing your existing content. I know I talked about it last week when I was on a coaching call with a client who told me that they never reused a post or a core piece of content at all by turning it into a podcast or a blog post. Don't do that. Use your brilliant content. Spread it over different areas. Everybody consumes content in a different way. You want to make sure that you're getting to your ideal client in the place that they show up. And repurposing your content is an effective way to maximize its possibility without starting from scratch every single time. You're busy running a business, a family, you're on coaching calls. You don't have time for that, friend. Use your resources effectively. Okay, that's enough babbling on today. It's time to wrap this up. Organize your content creation is essential to run a successful business because you need to have people come into you through your content. It's the best way, but you need to establish a process that includes brainstorming your ideas and having that idea library so that you have a place to go back when you're going to create your content calendar. That way you can develop those quality content ideas easily without having to struggle. I tell you, it is not any fun to struggle because you are out of ideas. And publish your content consistently. And that's what a content calendar helps you do. You can ensure that your content will reach the right people and make the impact that it needs to make. So keep all these tips in mind. You'll be well on your way to creating organized content that resonates with your ideal clients. And don't forget to track all those steps involved in organizing your content creation so you can easily refer to them when you need to, so that you're not having to remember what is the next step that I need to do in the process. And one final thing before I go, We all need coaches in our life, so if you feel called, I invite you to book a one-on-one coaching call. The link will be down below in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I hope you make it a wonderful week. Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this episode valuable and learned some actionable tips that you can implement in your business so that you can feel accomplished and less stressed. If you enjoyed this show, please take a quick minute to share this with your business bestie, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more business owners just like you. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out to me on my website. I've created a form just for you. Remember, with the right system and mindset, you can achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you next time. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget, let's grow, friends.